Friends, families, and guests, the 2014 graduating class and faculty of Portland State University! Friends, family, and guests, please rise for the platform party.
Welcome to Portland State University's 2014 Spring Commencement Ceremony. My name is Sana Andrews, and I'm the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, and it's my honor to lead today's ceremony. Joining me on the stage are honored guests, PSU academic and administrative leaders, and our 2 student commencement speakers, all of whom are listed in your program. Please remain standing for the singing of America the Beautiful by Portland State University's student a cappella group, the Green Note.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of rain, for purple mountains' majesty above thy fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot's dream that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, PSU Green Note. take your seats. Our ceremony is being broadcast live online and also on Oregon Public Broadcasting. Please visit pdx.edu for further details. And now I'm pleased to introduce the President of Portland State University, Wim Wiewel. President Wiewel.
Good afternoon, class of 2014, and congratulations. Look around you. You represent the biggest graduating class in all of Oregon. You come from 44 states and 51 nations. You range in age from 19 to 72 years old. Now, many of you struggled, whether it was balancing jobs, raising children, managing debt, reading Proust, pulling all-nighters before finals, or let's face it, perhaps nursing the occasional hangover. But you made it! And here you sit on the same floor where Damian Lillard hit that improbable three-pointer at the buzzer. Every one of you overcame odds of one kind or another to be here today. It's no small feat to enroll in a university, step out of your comfort zone, pick a major, and do the work it takes to earn a degree. It takes serious commitment. Some of you are the first in your family to go to college. Some of you were academic stars in high school and had many college options before you chose Portland State. Some of you found your footing first in a community college before transferring here to finish the job as a Viking. Again, look around. This is what achievement looks like. Remember it, savor it, and by all means, tweet about it. It's your big chance to see your post up on the Jumbotron. You and your classmates have powerful stories to tell. I will mention just a few. Before coming to Portland State, Ryan Hansen was in his first year of teaching at an elementary school in Spokane when he had to have a tumor removed. The surgery left him totally blind and temporarily at least ended his teaching career. After rehabilitation, Hansen enrolled in PSU's Graduate School of Education. 2 years later, here he is, getting his master's degree in special ed and already on track to teach visually impaired high school students in Salem. I understand he has something like 14 family members with him today, including his partner, Rachel Ayers, who also is graduating with a master's in education, and I might add, is expecting a child in September. Congratulations, Ryan and Rachel, on what has to be a very special day. Also today, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate our third and last cohort of Intel Vietnam scholars, a unique and invaluable collaboration between PSU and the state's biggest employer. 21 of that cohort graduate today for a total of 73 who came from universities all across Vietnam to participate in and complete the program. We thank our partners at Intel for their great support. Now let me brag just a little bit more. PSU students were awarded 7 Fulbright scholarships for study abroad. That's a record number of prestigious scholars for Portland State. Of this group, 1 will study seed distribution by birds in Chile, 1 will study hate crimes and racial victimization in the United Kingdom, still another will study theater production in Mexico. We celebrate all of you as individuals. At the same time, we must keep in mind that these accomplishments, those that I've highlighted, and the thousands of others that go unsaid, are to be shared with a much broader university community. Maybe it was the professor who gently redirected you on your essay, or your experiment, or even your study habits, or your love life. Maybe it was the advisor who made sure you had the means to complete your degree. To the parents, and remember, today is Father's Day, the spouses, the partners, the family who supported you, the philanthropists who helped fund this great university, of course the faculty and the staff and your classmates. We know how much goes into the victory that a college degree represents. Let's give them all a big round of applause. We are counting on you, class of 2014, to build a better, more sustainable future, to remember your alma mater, and to lend a hand to those students who will follow in your footsteps. So be kind, be creative, be fearless, and give yourselves a big round of applause because you did it!
Thank you, President Vivell. Graduates, as you transition from being students to alumni, you should know that there are PSU alumni located throughout the world. PSU alumni have the respect of everyone and work both in graduate schools and in work and across the nation. Please join me in welcoming Matt Johnson, the president of the PSU Alumni Association.
Thank you, Provost Andrews. Class of 2014, my fellow Portland State University alumni, it is a privilege joining you and your family and friends to celebrate your graduation. From the moment you stepped on campus as students, you began your membership with an influential and resourceful organization, more than 150,000 members strong, our Portland State University Alumni Association. We are your enduring link to PSU, a lifelong resource of social, educational, and professional support that extends around the world. Just over 10 years ago, I sat where many of you are sitting today. And like many of you, I was ready to lead and be challenged in a competitive yet uncertain future. I took with me the confidence and enthusiasm I learned right here at PSU and a strong academic, social, and ethical foundation I earned at PSU. I have no doubt you will do the same. Wherever your lives lead you, whatever successes you have, and whenever you need to reach your classmates and friends, our Alumni Association will always be your connection. Though you leave here today, Portland State University will always be a part of you, and we invite you to take advantage of our network and always remain active in our Alumni Association. Again, congratulations, thank you, and go Vikings.
Thank you, President Johnson. I'd also like to thank our faculty, a number of whom are with us today, for their efforts in guiding these students to the successful completion of their academic programs. Their expertise and dedication to our students is phenomenal, and they deserve a round of applause. And now, to the graduates. I wish to pay a special tribute to the more than 1,000 undergraduate students graduating with academic honors. Candidates graduating with honors can be identified by the cords worn around their regalia. Will those receiving Latin honors please stand, and let's give these students a round of applause. Thank you. You may be seated. Our student speakers this year represent the highly talented class of 2014. Our first student representative is Patrick Gulliford. Patrick is receiving, and Patrick has a cheering section. Patrick is receiving his Bachelor of Science in Marketing from the School of Business. Our second student representative is Crystal Pardue, who is receiving her Bachelor of Science in Political Science this winter quarter. Crystal is preparing to enter law school in 2015. So let me invite them to come up to the podium.
Hello. I hope everyone's having a nice afternoon. I was going to save the vest for afterwards, but if you insist. Excuse me. That's better. All right, I'm ready now. Excuse me. First of all, I'd like to thank the Graduation and Program Board for giving me the opportunity to speak today. Thank you. My dad was so very proud and encouraging when I told him I was going back to school. Sadly, he passed away about a year ago, but I know that seeing me graduate and seeing me up here today would have made him extremely proud, especially with today being Father's Day. So, Dad, this is for you. Portland State has some truly amazing professors, instructors, and staff who sometimes don't get the true recognition they deserve. Doug Siegler, Karen Hansen, Josh Davis, Doug Lau, Chuck Nobles, and Brenda Enkelberger. You're all fantastic and have helped and influenced me a lot throughout my time at PSU. Thank you. And Dr. Lauren Biedelsbacher, you've been an incredible mentor. Thank you so much for your advice and guidance, and give me the chance to intern for you as you launch the new athletic and outdoor program, which is continuing to grow from strength to strength. Now, I've met some real characters during my time at PSU, and I'm lucky enough to call some of them friends. I've also had the privilege of being in class and doing group work with some of the great people sat out there today. And thank you to everyone outside of PSU who has loved, helped, and supported me along my student journey. Excuse me. PSU's urban campus is a great representation of the city it's in. You can be fresh out of high school, or a single parent working full-time, or a seasoned working professional going back to school because you want a career change, or anyone in between. You can even be a crazy Englishman from 6,000 miles away. The point is, everyone has a place, everyone is welcomed in, and if you're willing to put in the hard work, you will be given the tools to succeed. I feel PSU and the city of Portland are hand in hand on this. So to my fellow graduates, the class of 2014, I hope your time at Portland State has inspired you to not only chase your dreams, but to catch up to them and tackle them head on. PSU has certainly inspired me, and I look forward to hopefully soon be working in brand communications or advertising agency account management right here in Portland. As PSU's motto goes, I want my knowledge to serve the city. So let's all take today as an opportunity to reflect, celebrate, and be proud of what we've all achieved. Because tomorrow is Monday, and that's when the real work starts. It won't be easy, but as my dad always said to me, if it was easy, then everyone would do it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. When I was a little girl, I used to enjoy playing dress-up with my mother's cap and gown more than princess dresses and tiaras and makeup. The inspiration for me to pursue my goals and to make education a priority was always there, whether it was from my family, my friends, or my teachers. Today, I have the honor of addressing my peers, the graduates of Portland State University, class of 2014. Given PSU's incredibly diverse student body, I may not share many commonalities with each of you. However, one thing I know we all share is the drive that I'm speaking of. Something or someone, even if just yourself, has motivated you to pursue this goal and to see it to its finish. For this, I congratulate each and every one of you. Portland, Oregon holds a reputation of being one of the most culture-rich, progressive cities in the world, not to mention our amazing food carts and coffee roasters. As students of Portland State, we had the incredible opportunity of attending a school located in the heart of this culture. We were able to experience firsthand what the Princeton Review calls a college with a conscience. What can we take away from this? If nothing else, our experience here at PSU and the greater community of Portland has taught us the importance of public service. From the community outreach programs in the School of Business Administration to Hatfield School of Government's courses aimed to prepare students for the pursuit of social justice, this value has been at the core of our academic experience. Graduates and peers, this is what we need to take away. Wherever our lives take us from this point on, I believe we could pay no greater honor to our alma mater than to continue this legacy. Let us lift up the weak, protect the vulnerable, and always strive to be an advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. PSU has been an invaluable resource to us, and now it is time for us to move forward using the skills with which we've been equipped. Congratulations, graduates. May you never forget the power you possess to do good. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to welcome back to Portland State His Excellency Hassan Abdullah Al-Ghanim Al-Madid, who's being awarded an honorary degree of human letters. Mr. Al-Ghanim came to Oregon to study at PSU in the 1970s and has gone on to great things since getting his political science degree. He was appointed Minister of Justice in his home country of Qatar 15 years ago and was part of the committee that drafted that nation's first permanent constitution. He also has played a big role in continuing to convene the alumni in the Gulf Cooperation Council countries to support our university with alumni from Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. We thank you, Mr. Al-Ghanim, for your work on PSU's behalf. Please come up. Thank you again, Hassan, for your continued support of Portland State University and our students. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce our main commencement speaker. Duncan Campbell worked his way through college, attending PSU before getting business and law degrees at the University of Oregon. Drawing on his own hard-scrabble childhood experiences and his time as a child care worker at 2 Oregon youth detention centers, Mr. Campbell, after much business success, founded several organizations aimed at making life better for at-risk kids. His signature accomplishment probably is founding Friends of the Children, which provides paid professional mentors for high-risk youth from kindergarten through graduation. In 2009, he was awarded the Purpose Prize for passion and innovation in helping solve a social problem. We therefore are awarding him a doctorate in humane letters. Please welcome Duncan Campbell.
actually quite humbled by receiving this honorary degree, primarily because the way I grew up. I came from a welfare family. Both of my parents were alcoholics. My father was in prison twice, and basically was a child that was left alone, which you can tell was probably part of the catalyst for actually creating Friends of the Children later. But actually, I'm honored in a different way also. Like many of you, I really didn't have any other options to go to a university. I am probably one of the most thankful people who have ever attended a state or public institution. For me, I lived at home. It wasn't an option to go away to school. It wasn't an option to even go to a private school. I was actually admitted to a private school. I ran an ad in the Oregonian asking if I could borrow money from somebody to go to a private school. Nobody responded to it. And yet I had these 3 jobs. I had a day job, a night job, lived it alone with my mother, and then felt not only fortunate but blessed to be able to go to Portland State University. And although I did end up going to Oregon State for a year, and Oregon for a year, and law school at Oregon, actually Portland State is the closest to my heart. I've been asked to make a few remarks. It's ironic that it's Father's Day. My youngest son, Courtney, who a few years ago in his 20s came to me, and I was so touched. He asked if I would share the 25 lessons I've learned in life and business and friends. And so I said, no, I'd do that. I'd put that together, and we'll go together and have a long lunch, and I'll share them with you. Now, I'm not going to share those with you today, but I am going to share the top 5, and one of them might surprise you. Actually, the first one is, in our family, the Campbells say thank you. They show gratitude. Like, I'm so appreciative of not only Portland State, but public education. So our children were taught to be appreciative and thankful for the things that came into their lives. I'm thankful when I was fortunate enough to be an entrepreneur and build a business. Even though being an entrepreneur is challenging, difficult, and even painful at times, I loved it. But it took a team of other people to make that happen. You rarely accomplish anything alone, and I'm thankful for that. And then at Friends of the Children, we always talk about the most important decision we make at Friends of the Children is the hiring of the friend themselves. They all have this gift of relationship and caring for children, and all of them have degrees, as a matter of fact, now. But we're so thankful for the team at Friends and the friends themselves. You know, on a pragmatic matter, I'm thinking you got a spectrum of students that are graduating in the business school, other schools. You're going to go into a wide range of career paths. But I'm a real believer in the power of focus. Whatever you decide to do well, but focused. A few people are given multiple gifts, but if you really want to succeed at something, go all out on one thing. And in a pragmatic way, I'm passionate about having real clear personal goals. So for example, when I was young, I was 10 years old, I still remember this moment. I decided I was not going to be like my parents. So I'm not going to go on at length about that, but for example, they're both alcoholics, as I mentioned. So I never had my first beer was when I went on a brewery tour when I was 22, because I'd seen how it had destroyed their lives. And then even when I went to law school, I basically hated it. I went 3 times, and I'll tell you in a minute. I quit 3 times, came back, graduated, and became a lawyer. But because it was a goal I set, and I committed myself to following through on it. And then I was fortunate enough, I worked out at the juvenile court for 4 years. I worked at JDH here, Skipworth in Eugene, and I always wanted to work with kids, and literally I couldn't believe I got paid to do it. I genuinely loved it. And that's one thing I'll encourage you. You're not all going to have this option, especially early on, but as early as you can, choose a path that follows your calling and your passion and stay with it. I'm going to combine two of them, the Campbell ones, the things we teach our children and then we teach them as adults. And the Campbells fix it and the Campbells don't quit. So the classic example is when you're a child, not a baby, when you're a child, you spill milk, you clean it up. The parent doesn't run to clean it up. You run into a financial challenge, you can get advice and counsel from your parents or friends, but it's up to you to be responsible to fix that issue. The other is when I was in business, this has to do with tenacity. One of the gifts of growing up in such a dysfunctional family, you get all the attributes of an entrepreneur. And one of them is going to be a dog with a rag. Now, sometimes that works to your advantage and sometimes it doesn't. But I ran out of money 7 times during the course of starting the firm, the investment firm I had, the Campbell Group. So every time I had to dig down and go find another source of money, another source of money. And actually, early on in the firm, we didn't make any money for 5 years. So we either lost money or broke even for 5 years. But eventually we grew the firm. We had $1 billion under management. But we made the mistake of choosing the wrong partner. And we went to 0. And then we all decided as a team to grab ourselves by the back of the neck, hang in there just as an act of integrity, plus we knew that we could succeed. And together, we grew it later to today. It has $6 billion of assets under management. And that has to do with being tenacious. In relation to the friends, you know, we're 21 years old now. We started in my old neighborhood in North Portland. We went to Martin Luther King School, Boys School, and Vernon School. We hired 3 of these friends, and I'm going to tell you what they are in a minute, and then had 24 children. Today, we have almost 50 friends and serve over 400 children in Portland and over 1,000 in Boston, New York, Seattle, and Klamath Falls, and in Cornwall, England, and we're opening a new chapter in Tampa Bay. So at the bottom of all of this, if you can't tell already, my whole life has been about relationships. I was being interviewed by a business magazine at one time, and the person said, "What one word summarizes your view of business?" And I said, "Love." Where does that come from? How Freudian can you get? But it was real. That's who I really was. In my own life, for example, I have 3 friends, and we've gotten together for breakfast and lunch every week for 40 years because it's rooted in a friendship of caring about one another and loving one another. The same is true in the Campbell Group. We talk about the spirit. All businesses don't have to become bureaucracies and soulless, and they are organizations with integrity. We had 5 core values: service, quality, integrity, growth, and fun. But we really believed them and we really lived it out. And in the almost 30 years of the Campbell Group, very few people have ever left that organization because people want to come and be with and work with people they care about. And then obviously Friends of the Children is all about a loving, caring relationship. And the essence of Friends, and by the way, my definition of creativity is you take existing things and arrange them in a way that's never been done before. So Friends of the Children takes the most at-risk child you can imagine, say in an inner city school, and we do a reverse draft. We ask for the most challenged student in the school. We're not taking the cream of the crop and making them better. Then we start at an early age. We started originally in the 2nd grade. Teachers said we can tell you who they are at the end of kindergarten. So we pick our children up at kindergarten, and then we stay with them for 12 and a half years. And we make a long-term commitment. And then the whole relationship is unconditional. There's nothing a child could ever do that we will ever leave that child. But it's that loving, caring, nurturing relationship at the core. So as you go out of here today, if you can't tell because this is such a formal proceeding, I'm a big hugger. But you go out today and you follow your path, you be good, you have fun, and go tell somebody you love that you love them and give them a hug. Thank you very much.
Dr. Hassan Al-Ghanem, I'd like to bring you back to the podium to make some remarks as well. Please. Thank
you. Mr. President, respected deans, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hassan Al-Ghanem and I am from Qatar. I am deeply honored and extremely happy today to receive honorary doctorate degree from an institute where I began my university studies almost 30 years ago. I understand that this honor is for an individual in recognition to his services that made difference to the society. I am very proud that PSU has made me an able professional to qualify for this prestigious award today. I thank Portland State on behalf of many of my colleagues, students who after graduation from Portland State are serving Qatar and Arabian Gulf countries where I belong. The country is emerging as one of the modern state nations today, due to its government policies encouraging development in every domain, such as health, education, and justice and sport. I have recently retired as a Minister of Justice after serving as a public servant for 33 years. We, the alumni of Portland State from the Arabian Gulf countries, gather annually thousands of miles away from here and would like to thank the support from Portland State President and other officials who always traveled that far and participated in those gatherings. I am carrying this award back to my country, where this recognition shall be highly regarded by the youth who are seeking education from American university. In the end, I thank those who chose my name and considered me for this prestigious award. Thank you very much. Mabruk alaik.
Thank you to both of our honorary doctorates for those inspiring words. And now, graduates and President Vivell. Here today, we have candidates who have completed the requirements for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education. Will the candidates for their doctoral degrees please rise? President Vivell, on behalf of the deans of the schools and colleges and the faculty, I'm pleased and honored to present the candidates for the highest degrees awarded by the university. The names of those awarded doctoral degrees are listed in your program along with the titles of their dissertations. I recommend these candidates be awarded their respective doctoral degrees.
On the recommendation of the graduate faculty and by the authority vested in me by the Oregon State Board of Higher Education, I am pleased to confer upon you the respective degrees of Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education, Will all of you, together with your advisors, come forward to be recognized?
Dr. Oliver J. Droppers V. Dr. Anna Fusette Tressider. Dr. Lila Hunaidi. Well, got my glasses. Dr. Mariah Craner. Dr. Andreas Oddby. Dr. Margaret M. Nygren. Dr. Caleb DeChant. Dr. Shara Banu Madahar. Dr. Wei Fon. Dr. Rosine Hanun Salmon. Dr. Ibrahim Ushkun. Dr. Richard C. Sperry. Dr. Ilkner N. Tekin. Dr. Ralph Yung Ling. Dr. Daniel Draper. Dr. Linda Florence. Dr. Terry Tilley. Dr. Brian Seen. Dr. Bernd Ferner. Dr. Christy McNulty. Dr. Joseph Zanishek. Dr. Philip B. Pearson. Dr. Yoko Sakuraichi. Dr. Micah Yai.
Let's give these graduates one more round of applause. Will the candidates for master's degrees please rise and remain standing? President Vivell, I present to you the candidates for the master's degrees in the fields offered at Portland State University. President Vivell, I recommend to you the candidates for master's degrees.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and with the authority vested in me by the Oregon State Board of Higher Education, I'm pleased to confer upon you the respective master's degrees that you have earned at Portland State University. Congratulations to each of you. And when you come forward with your faculty marshal, you will be introduced and greeted.
School of Business Administration.
Messi College of Engineering and Computer Science.
Adye Garj.
Saad Al-Mutari. Fahid Al-Hajari.
Jamie Boardman.
Annalena Lentz.
Courtney Borbanis.
Srujana Pinmesta.
Khalid Alanazi.
Tianhao Wang.
Lauren Blanchard.
Abhishek Jayan.
Lan Mi.
Stanley Limarata.
Chris Manning.
Thanaporn Nagmilnil.
Hatish Patel.
Rachanida Kusawangsi.
College of Urban and Public Affairs.
Nopaldo Wanapratapa.
Lauren Nixon.
Bahar Saachi.
Tiffany Nelson.
Sarah Baharani.
Richard Hunt.
Kon Abdullahi.
Serafina Peterson.
Jorge Luis Garcia.
Kelsey Priest.
Lin Pham.
Mary Frances Ritchie.
Tui Tran.
Aaron Reed.
Yu Shang.
Stacy Johimson.
Yin Shi.
Bridget Lynch.
Shi Li.
Brandon Lynch.
Santiago Rodriguez Anderson.
Katrina Sipe.
Naif Al-Malki.
Lauren Edelstein.
Oluwasun David Aditipe.
Chase Ballou.
Aditya Thakre.
Carlos Gonzalez.
Stephen Phan.
College of the Arts.
Hayun Wook Yeo.
Trevor Stevens.
Matthew Criskay.
Heidi Crespi.
Bradley Kopp.
Seha Un.
Bindu Kosaraju.
Christopher Rockhill.
Shena.
Adam Green.
Sumita Ajati.
Michael Kuhn.
Priyanka Shrimali.
Benjamin Dines.
Ranjana Sakaran.
Amanda Dupriest.
Deepika Dendi.
Christy Bogart.
Mandeep Sayani.
School of Education. Jose.
Momita Jana.
Jose Iniguez.
Timothy Fleck.
James Pham.
Aaron Combs.
Benjamin Noyes.
Jiraz Mantrawadi.
Arsima Tovar.
Saruj Nayur.
Patricia Garcia Gallardo.
Kyle Kraxberger.
Lisa Ramos.
Andreu Ferraro.
Whitney Rush.
Brian Cook.
Michelle Alonso.
Darren Jensen.
Lana Gatley.
Gabrielle Riley.
Valerie Williams Hurutz.
Timothy Riley.
Yifang Gao.
Rohan Deshpanada.
Jenny Chi.
Raul
Ilya
Wag.
Bobby.
Nikael Patael.
Billy Mays.
Shri S. Kubade.
April Lacourciere.
Aditi Godbul.
Kevin James.
Nachiket Kashbak.
Courtney Ann Riley.
Ketki Kakanis.
Nicole Hartman.
Tejashri Chamudra. Sorry.
Rosella de Leon.
Teas Tapsale.
Megan Yasurda.
Jess Brown.
Cassandra Chang.
Pranane Reddy Vangala.
Deborah Bogul.
Jigar Modi.
Cynthia Denise Boktur.
Vignesh Kumaraguru Barum.
Marlon Holmes.
Nagarjun Hassan Rangunatha.
Tia Marie Gomez Zeller.
Rakesh Vasui Devun.
Yen Liu.
Archana Im.
Heather Fekus.
Almulia Darcy.
Monica Salzberg.
Josna Sridandrun.
Mary Kales.
Andrew Vo.
Anne Brassley.
Brianna Shade.
Allison Caroline Hose.
Nina Maldikur.
Amira Flint.
Ritu Bidasaraya. Farnoosh Musafatimi. Pruntebana Natani. Saumya Shripilya. Horini Ramukarishnu. Sanjana Una Kamat. Saravana Priya Ramanathan. Deepika Puniyamurtula. Amruta Karijakar. Smetukma Kundarji. Ashiwine Hastinareta. Renu Biradar. Deepika Jain. Nasim Sajay. Reitu Raghuvanishi. Amirata Namibara. Ajita Srivastava. Regan Joseph Lopez. Mark Brohead. Josh Moles. Mrinali Mathur. Chini Krishna Kopali. Satish Jawar. Kishora Kumar Yasa. Vishnu Vardam Reddy Chalka. Giridanta Kumar. Kian Kumar Raju Magdu. Vinkarat Pachigola. Samia Karaja. Lina Purebu. Venkata Uchirala. Pratusha Vitajay Kumar. Krish Ramkumar. Rupesh Vulchi. Sumant Ratakutundala. Shriram Raparala. Sai Shrikant Eswaroju. Prodivi Neti. Alekhya Yalamili. School of Social Work, Elizabeth Peña Alvarado. Vilma Chan Vasquez. Rafael Reynoso Hinosia. Abdiasis Mohammed. Gabriela Lul Juarez. An Fong Wen. Gina Giron. Jennifer Cobb. Kelly Burgess.
Let's all give these graduates a round of applause. Will all the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees and certificates rise and remain standing? President Vivell, I present to you the candidates for baccalaureate degrees and certificates in the fields offered by Portland State University. President Vivell, I recommend to you the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts, the candidates for the Bachelor of Science, and the candidates for the Bachelor of Music, and the candidates for certificates.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and with the authority vested in me by the Oregon State Board of Higher Education, I'm pleased to confer upon you the respective baccalaureate degrees and certificates which you have earned at Portland State University. Congratulations to each of you. You may be seated. Will the faculty marshals now lead the baccalaureate candidates forward to be introduced and greeted by their dean?
The two speakers come first. I think they should come back. Okay, I think they can come. They should come. Yep. I guess the photographer's in charge. Crystal Pardue.
Patrick Guilford. College of the Arts, Architecture.
Massey
Catherine
College
Odell.
of Engineering and Computer Science, Civil Engineering. Natalie Ehrlich.
Lauren Gillingham.
Rebecca Hushka.
Angelica Yigno.
Paul Beskow.
Bayan Alfarat.
Jeremy Gavilan.
Hung Tren.
Chris Fujiosi.
Kevin Chavez.
Mark Duval.
David Elas.
Muhammad Dawood.
Adam McSorley.
Fadhala Al-Lahfala.
Valeria Shiguapa.
Hamad Asayad.
Shao Ma.
Abdullah Al-Haddad.
Tiffany Hel Erivik.
Abdul Wahab Al-Fares.
Candice Aguhan.
Talal Alawadi.
Andy Chung.
Ibrahim Shana.
Mikal Phuket.
Mohammed Alafalek.
Eric Vu.
Badir Borseli.
Johnny Beauchamp.
Dennis Hill.
Wade Harvey.
Lindsay Matthias.
Asmait Zalek.
Maxim Barachu.
Paul Thanakorn Vorapavich.
Ilya Palmikov.
Moyad Marwan Linga.
Jonathan Bunch.
Kezia Baron.
Mark Jason Mercado.
Sarah Scott.
Adeline Amaro Zarita.
Nicole King.
Genevieve Maloney.
Art Studies.
Joseph Comer.
Nafi Gorman.
Gregory Kolb.
Philip Newin.
Brooke Harmon.
Sarah Seitz.
Emily Haliva Pahashna.
Dylan Lawrence.
Leland Scantelberry.
Charlie Kohlmeyer.
Krista Hager.
Alex Hellenius.
Wesley Seji Blesner.
Mia Long.
Julia Degonier.
Cami Gartner.
Corey Castello.
Melinda Haynes.
Ahmed Badar.
Hannah Evangeline Andrews.
Danielle Messerur.
Cody Sprague.
Spencer Cook.
Celestia Cardenio.
Mark Kelsom.
Leon Wu.
Jakin Encarnacion.
Cassandra Swan.
David Cano.
Allison Gober.
Lisa Okemoto.
Kingo Olson.
Melinda Kemp.
John Kit McAllister.
Amy Huddleston.
Alan Hernandez Aguilar.
Corey Tyson.
Atiana Kuriyama.
Daniel Steve.
Yumi Takedo.
Wayne Korick.
Kristen Cole.
Nicholas Polensky.
Tressa Shaw.
Joe Kirkland.
Erica Ramirez. Lisa Hunt.
Computer science.
Carrie
Jeremy
Ann.
Sample.
Carrie Ann Miyama Tome.
Alex Locknam.
Tammy Boyer Martel.
Samuel Wiseman.
Atun Aloylayan.
Michael Hall.
Bradley Ramos.
Curtis Rickert.
Michelle Lay.
Christopher Behrens.
Angela Sailors.
Jesse Stewart.
Charlotte Hill.
Matthew Larson.
Hannah Higgins.
Michael Robinson.
Jillian Martin.
Andrew Helinus.
John Henry Egan.
DJ Weiser.
Mackenzie Pierce.
Udani Senevirathatna.
Megan Myers.
Rory McMurray.
Shuri Andrea.
Eric Sutherland.
Regina Sale Jenkins.
Jason Owen.
Sarah Franks.
Peter Kiomonivna.
Angelica Hafish.
Robert Connell.
Courtney Carter.
Dan Catalano.
Angela Marie Tribulato.
Jason Nelson.
Rebecca Lee.
Nathaniel Myers.
Sally Stevens.
Min Vu.
Vanessa Robertson Rojas.
Baek Win.
Courtney Miller.
Dwi Tran.
Rebecca Brodela.
Electrical and Computer Engineering.
Brianna Luke.
Timothy Arlanano.
Nicole Thomas.
Nicholas Klein.
Manon Cheney.
Jesse Jacob Kikoa Hartley.
Shannon McCormick.
Cook Young.
Emerald Shepard.
Nya Lee.
Darian Henry.
David Howden.
Daniel Nelson.
Brian Button.
Yeah. Marty James Patterson.
John Masetha.
Nicholas Boileau.
Fong Ho.
George Murisan.
Bao Nun.
Kaylin Spitzer.
An Ban.
Teresa Wynn.
Camille Day.
Jonathan Knight.
Kevin Riedel.
Michelle A. Green.
Jordan Faluth.
Stacy Wilson.
Matthew Stair.
Michelle Kirch.
Trong Pham.
Becky Ruth Register.
Phuc Nguyen.
Wafa Al Quinbit.
David Timothy.
Yahan Zhang.
Wang Sheng.
Kelsey Smoot.
Amrutha Dusa.
Vanessa Lowe.
Sarita Tellez.
Kayla Nguyen.
Raluca Moldovan.
Corbin Becker.
Jordan Kiomam Evan.
Clark Flowers.
Ryan Floyd.
Alyssa Rucker.
Tim Huang.
Music.
Trin Nguyen.
Amelia Ficken.
Padmashri Patil.
Joshua Cunningham.
Tui Tran.
Jessica Reynolds.
Hussein Alamir.
Mitchell Hansen.
Abdullah Ben Nachim.
Tristan Whitecamp.
Aziz Hamanda.
Yvonne Bartlett.
Khalil Al-Kabaz.
Sarah Coho.
Faho Al-Saleh.
Alexander Sibikov.
Tuan Huang.
Mariana Shat.
Nan Nguyen. Han Lee.
Joseph Stenchfield.
Than Nguyen.
BJ Cummings.
One more graduate. Mechanical Engineering. Nan Nguyen.
Andrea Elizabeth Morgan.
An Ha.
Mark Neusmeyer.
Abdulrahman Al-Juma.
Heyang Pak.
Fahad Al-Dakil.
Nicole Anderson.
Chad Knutson.
Brandon Braun.
James Shea.
Mario Sandoval.
Tomas Gabrizi.
Lindsay Quint.
Andrew Westerman.
Film.
Kenneth Hengartner.
Charles Kowalski.
Huang Hui.
Joseph Bishop.
Tung Nguyen.
Gwendolyn Hamilton.
Nick Mulick.
Jeremy Gerard.
Anthony Jude Ramirez.
Adam Monteblanco.
Michael Stadelman.
Derek Donovan.
Samuel Arnold.
Matthew Hannon.
Jackson Slocum.
Langston McLaren.
Rob Melchione.
Benjamin Bowman.
Jonathan Roberts.
Tanner Notch.
Corey Monk.
Brittany Donahue.
Nathan Nguyen.
Kyle Omer,
Owen Killingsworth.
Benjamin Eastman,
Alan Bond.
Alyssa Wood,
Derek Fu.
Kelly Cosino,
Yassine Hundubai.
Megan Stump,
Elizabeth Litzenberger Van Rossen.
Kenny Katz,
George Vidgen.
Morgan Shonnet,
Alexander Villanova.
Jonathan Ulrich,
Child and Family Studies, Sophia Murfitt.
Richard Beardsley,
Kendra Lichtleiter.
Robin Goss,
Lindsay Corcoran.
Stephen Meads,
Nikita Bernhardt.
Johannes Hupfeld,
Jansu Yuzun.
Theater Arts, Zachary Marsh,
Alicia Bernhard.
Robin Daniel, Joshua
Teddy
Oyibo
Garland.
Adusi, Rashinda Linton,
Hajer Aguilar.
Whitney Rivenis,
Maggie Munoz.
Emily Martin,
Natasha Free.
Stormy Candido,
Melissa Lewis.
Jennifer Phillips,
Catherine Osborne.
Jillian Gibson,
Destiny Bukasas.
Lyric Burt,
Kirsten E.
Victoria Ann Spencer,
Bachelors of Social Work.
School of Business Administration Accounting.
Joel Gisbert.
B.T. Fredericks.
Deborah Bailey.
Caleb Dixon.
Paula Gust.
Steve Wright.
Mackenzie Stewart.
Aubrey Humphreys.
CJ Smith.
Marianne Baca.
Yuvia Mercilo.
Christine Lippery.
Rose Maria Sanchez.
Caitlin Malamfi.
Valeria Julia Jones.
Alice Guest.
Jerry Dar.
Stephen Renlu. Michael Liu.
College of Urban and Public Affairs Community Development. Will Fuentes.
Andrew Wager.
Erica Molina Rodriguez.
Kimberly Sawtell.
Linda Hops.
Joy Gooding.
Kelly Sellers.
Gail Bishop.
Leah Sobiek.
Linda Utney.
Chad Tucker.
Angela Taylor.
Wayne Flower.
Michelle Mulgard.
Matthew Davis.
Josie Robinson.
Meredith Meacham.
Cosette Brown.
Ron Yun.
Faxal Almasned.
Sarah Matijazik.
Saad Alonawai.
Devin Brady.
Rashid Altaf.
Terry Smith.
Almad Almo Farij.
Melvin Smith.
Jonathan Cortis.
Joseph Bennett.
Aldur Bella V.
Nathan Lamb.
Rohini Kishna.
Emily Dodge Hanchet.
Holly Graff.
Chelsea Myrick.
Juan Lopez.
Corey Miner.
Nicole Richards.
Monica Silva.
Alishi Payden.
Patricia Dolan.
Roman Robinson.
James Alex Baker.
Andre Bedala.
Ellen Clark Eustace.
Brian Hodges French.
Kyle Cernica.
Isabu Pleku.
Kara Cernica.
Buvi Ang Bonun.
Gretchen Sandow.
Janae Frady.
Ezdehar Almefta.
Jason Duru.
Nara Ashamari.
Myra Garrido.
Zainab Al-Turki.
Sophia Cree.
Ann McIntosh Wilson.
Kate Lands.
Elizabeth Wayenberg.
Greg Powell Jr.
Soleil Rowan Kanier.
Jaryao Yu.
Liz Rusa.
Chi Yu Wang.
David Cohen.
Isa Haj.
Abby Murray.
Charlie Brixey.
Janelle Oakes.
Os Stadid. Matt Willis.
Michael McNamee.
Kara French.
Laura Waddick.
Matthew Wilt.
David Silva.
Charlene Wessler.
Alyssa Morse Miller.
Michael Susak.
Nick Frakia.
Timothy Scott.
Bonnie J. Salinas.
Ashley Phillips.
Jenna Alexander.
Manik Gupta.
Greg Brown.
Marco Jurichi.
Mackenzie Iden.
Jeremy Spriggs.
Fatima Alfaraj.
Jamie Romero Garcia.
Rabab Arabia.
Greg Victor.
Hashmia Alkars.
Sunmi Lee. Kylie Kramer Andre K.
Criminology and Criminal Justice. Jordan
Jackie Stupak.
Cynthia Cervantes.
Stephanos Petrus Bester.
Deanna McCord.
Brian Lund.
Rebecca Santoyo.
Karen De Vera.
Ann Beckman.
Mary Lehman.
Kelly Johnson.
Derek Ramos.
Marisabel McIntosh.
Guozi.
Karen Nachtigal.
Peter Brady.
James Wheaton.
Moaf Altoa Itziri.
Sophia Xavier.
Dewey Liu.
Andrea Smith.
Rosie Nguyen.
Brittany Schenk.
Sun Dong.
Amy Chase.
Lily Inos.
Catherine Del Biago.
Cassidy Mills.
Ashley Marie Hansen.
Abdullah Abduris.
Elizabeth Mendez Palacios.
Minnie Bartlett.
Monica Martinez Animas.
Elizabeth Tom.
Seth McNeil.
Sarah Russ.
Lydia Shute,
Luke Hayden,
Musa Kanso,
Michael Coster,
Hassan Alhamani,
Sarah Myers-Mitchell,
Banita Lagarza,
Jamie Townsend,
Lauren Malukowski,
Michelle Guerin,
Patrick Kennedy,
James Grice,
Brianna Durgen,
Ryan McCarthy,
Jennifer Kali Walker,
Tanya Romashchenko,
Lindsay Cardwell,
Naho,
Cole Duval,
Tom Tran,
Carly Bliss,
Ni Kwai Lu,
Caitlin Olson,
Lynn Palm,
Brenda Patricia Aguilar Ruiz,
Trin Tran,
Gona Houdin,
Dilfud Finn, Fan,
Catherine Hager,
Advertising, Marina Badachuk, Chuck,
Derek Jester,
Jacob Forsyth,
Adam Krausar,
Chris Cha, Mahan Zabetti,
Sarah Sykes,
Garrett Close,
Paula Meadows,
Corby Deglo,
Trina Burnett,
Minnie Nashamali,
Catherine Jensen,
Bo Beamish,
Mai Maun,
Tim Klaus,
Linda Wen,
Karen Zach,
Mandy Kim Carpenter,
Betsy Brower,
Maricela Marquez,
Michael Mall,
Daniel Bipristis,
Adele Almecren,
Teal Sigler,
Dre Slaps,
Andrew Eck,
Shannon Cheetah,
Thomas Robertson,
Eric Jem,
Alina Suchu,
Adam Peer,
Mallory Forza,
Kimberly Peer,
Amanda Bright,
Lon Tran,
Amanda Martin Tully,
Selena Cox Manoha,
Megan King,
Finance, Real Estate Finance,
Natasha Martin,
Marjorie Watkins,
Corey Johnson,
Michael Flores,
Julie Gabon Abraham,
Brian
Julie
Garrison,
Dalton Abraham,
Saif Al-Asaf,
Elise Katims,
John Fulkerson,
Stephanie Hickman,
Caitlin Monaco,
Jennifer Diana Welch,
Allison Hanke,
Cassandra Norris,
Laszlo Kokosh,
Michelle Maxim,
Brandon Barkley,
James Caulfield,
Arshad Khan,
Alex Hagee,
Ilya Rabinovich,
Cameron Offner,
Jinwoo Han,
Second Lieutenant Cooper Emmons,
Christopher West,
Derek Larson,
Bernard Bartenstein,
Juan Eduardo Munoz,
Karina Guncharova,
Nicholas Wen,
Serith Sang,
Denise Lay,
John Kariusuf,
Renee Sentian,
Humphrey Mumba,
Liliana Luna,
Melanie Bouquet,
Fabiola Lopez,
Inca Nicole Torre,
Melinda Del Rio,
Rebecca Atwood,
Elizabeth Lazaro,
Aaron Brown,
Lorena de la Torre,
Miles Kirsten,
Carl Almquist,
Seth Brown,
Michelle Trine,
in Westerland,
Carrie Garcia,
Charles Meyer,
Christy English,
Jian Kwang Zhu,
Petty Officer Second Class Ross Ellis,
Q Nigan Nguyen,
Nicole Linnick,
Jack O'Connor,
Rachel Benjamin,
Robert Chisholm,
Brittany Michelle Land,
Shauna Thomas,
Janet Kupelis,
Anastasia Bontarchuk,
Eduardo Hernandez,
Emmanuel Bataya,
Justin Katebuck,
Michaelan Briggs,
Khalid Nur Abdi,
Nuyambura Bawangangi,
Ashley Eichenberger,
Zane Vircher,
Michael Sargent,
Ruben Saints Linares,
John Sapper,
Courtney Morstad,
Michael Register,
Samson Vu,
Joseph Hart,
Sean Breer,
Elias Corey,
Dizen,
Avri Saji,
Rose Pham,
Hagda Jimenez,
Todd Summers,
Joshua Derry,
Gregory Gabriel,
Sang Dao,
Lee Melvin,
Alexis Castellana,
Ben Deutsch,
Katie Sitchley,
Muyad Bin Said,
Kanisha Lomax,
Ahmed Al Nakbi,
Lija Pas,
Abdullah Al Shariani, Hamad Ali Al Bad,
Health Studies.
Suhail
Christopher
Al
Schwartz.
Ameri, Muhammad Al-Meri,
Cameron Jackson.
Saeed Al-Meri,
Sarah Gilstrap.
Naif Al-Rabaish,
Kylena Binkard.
Sultan Al-Dawai,
Shaima Ahevi.
Shab Taki,
Ebony Frederick Petaway.
Mazen Al-Zahari,
Aurora Silva Ramirez.
Omar Al-Kahawai,
Jenna Cole.
Hisham Al-Angari,
Brian Perkins.
Din Lee,
Corey Huffman.
Makian Epley,
Lisa Svoboda.
Shin Shu,
Nicole Hardisti.
Sien Shang,
Christopher Burnett.
Ji Han,
Kashif Khan.
Hao Li Ain,
Matthew Miller.
Sammy Amaini,
Kelsey Brunkow.
Casey Klaas,
Camille Harris.
Kayla Henningsen,
Kimberly Chestern.
Human Resource Management.
Amy Chen.
Melissa Bishop.
Lizel Pukinto.
KD Williams.
Gia Gilmore.
Krista Marie King.
Mary Pettit Drake.
Christopher Fast.
Cassandra O'Farrell.
Matthew Follis.
Elizabeth Marie Rivas.
Scott Crystal.
Christine Yim.
Faramala Aderomo.
Melody Mitchell.
Mackenzie Hartman.
Alexandra Greenwood.
Ikazivi Chair Dean.
Krista Khan.
Tugru Fima.
Aubrey Mitchell.
Michael Reynolds.
Garen Shatler.
Lucy Steele.
Brittany Boyd.
Manuela Marchulescu.
Adam Brickley.
Danielle Sally.
Erin Melissa Taylor.
Ruby Offord.
Rebecca Pollock.
Rashi Burhamina.
Emily Hargadine.
Nasser Al-Gabandi.
Mladen Kulunjad.
Fahad Al-Dakir.
Stephen Peter James II. Stephen Peter James II.
Fasil Al-Toker.
Kui Lei.
Luran Aranda.
Amy Nicole Nelson.
Sarah Marr.
Eric Reimer.
Alejandra Avila Cordova.
Jessica Tran.
Maria Gonzala Villarado.
Dominic Nu.
Hannah Maxson.
Brianna Campbell.
Joshua L. Phillips.
Alicia Smith.
Jorge Rodriguez.
Philip Epling.
Carrie Ann Mukwao.
Haley Chovich.
Daniel Oliveras.
Alexandria Fowler.
Jared Post.
Ashley Leon.
Kelly Rodella.
Josh Hilliard.
Aliyah Takugovich.
Melissa Fortier.
Augustin Ramos.
Catherine Nicole Newman.
David Zoe.
Cachet Moore.
Holly Marie Bartlett.
Carrie White.
Joseph Michael Tisdale.
Linda Nixich.
Jessica Zimmerman.
Hope Waring.
Queen Lee.
Courtney Rome.
Trong Fung.
Austin Ailey.
Kim Win.
Mary Coffey.
Anni Na So.
Desiree Simon.
Mariana Mulumba.
Sharin George Bargetzi.
Carlene Lawson.
Chloe Brunello.
Caitlin Shawerzi.
Brendan Tron.
Laura Flowers.
Melinda Joe Buxton.
Ashley Cresswell.
Irie Branscott.
Samantha McVicker.
Carly Erickson.
Carlos Seya.
Martin Velez.
Lisa Marie Yellett.
Zachary Carpenter.
Zora Chandiwala.
Matthew Wilson.
Abdul Rahman Al Mansouri.
Stephanie Anthony.
Khalid Al Mansouri.
Samantha Bryan.
Nasser Al Mansouri.
Aaron Burke.
Obaid Al Manrui.
Job Polk.
Mukbarak Al Mansouri.
Ryan Swafford.
Hamad Al Mansouri.
Jenna Brett.
Hamad Al Sultan.
Chie Gao.
Mohammed Al Manrouri.
Second Lieutenant David Shepard.
Mansour Al Haraji.
Alexander Cochran.
Salah Al Mazruri.
Salma El Said.
Mohammed Al Mazuri.
Dragna Vukanlo.
Alice Tran.
Diana Zellen.
Erheka Lippert.
Surjan Injak.
Kara Homan.
Nicole Bowman.
Carolyn Correa.
Ralph Radson.
Management.
Terry Watson.
T. Godwus.
Omar Obid.
Vin Nguyen.
Dennis
Owa
Micah.
Union. Noah Al-Shafar Kobaki.
Truk Tran.
Linda D. Young.
Derek Madlook.
Rebecca Deaton.
Justin Lilly.
Nadia Telegus.
Christopher Lincoln Evans.
Carolina Carlson.
Andrea Potter.
Mujahid El Nasser.
Roba Abuna.
Kaylee Watson.
Beshura Kame.
Kayla Mathers.
Yamungnu Seraya.
Andrew Boyona.
Michelle Lee.
Andrew Cook.
Hilda Ventura.
Seraphim Timko.
Brittany Brokenshare.
Andrew Sean.
Beth Hedgepeth.
Lily Lam.
Andrew Silaja.
Daniel James.
Bridget Bassett.
Jackie Chan.
Tamara Wilkins.
Jill Wardrop.
Carrie Tate.
Anne-Marie Silva.
Jay Jones.
Pali Matez.
Kyle Finley.
Klitsi Bremita.
Harawit Mimi Grebzeb-Zadik.
Salman Nassim.
Megan Williford.
Claudia Music.
Sinjay Lama.
Bekwitha Didega Hassan Moalim.
Eric Nguyen.
Brad Kupchayak.
Amanda Vu.
Leovan Lopez.
Noel Ban.
Luisa Fernandez Mendoza Flores.
Tui Ong.
Edgar Molina.
Vincent Shan.
Pelageya Zekman.
David Wynn.
Dylan Rotter.
Joycelyn Rich.
Katrin Kohlmeyer.
Angela Nicole Frazier.
Tyler Miller.
Benny Wynn.
Caitlin Bridgers.
Serene Adriana.
Reem Rizik.
Caitlin Ray.
Jenna Simon.
Andrea Wynn Steller.
Jenna Kaiser.
Maritza Roja.
Eve Carol Nechwe.
Melinda Sanchez.
Celeste Good Jones.
Catherine Hull.
Samira Shabazi.
Caitlin Alexandra
Catherine
Pearson.
Rice.
Christopher Scott.
Danila Ramku.
Hannah Buskol.
Irvine Manalang.
Marisa Winder.
Jenny Chen.
Kali Gilliam.
Laura Hin.
Bailey Brosmer.
Lisa Hollingshead.
Aaron Flanagan.
Jessica Marie Price.
Amy Fern.
Giannis Foyruchos.
Arian Elsas.
Emily Schatz.
Carrie Stephenson.
Madeline Keck.
Don Mobley.
Nicholas McKinney.
Joyce Benson.
Marcella Swart.
Ali Al-Ali.
Sydney Stewart.
Jennifer Munyon Young.
Jocelyn Azuje.
James Joseph Donahue.
Lynn Boy.
Esther Pack.
Jeremiah Bartlett.
Abdi Somo.
Win Wong.
Sarah Russian.
Mustafa Alhamali.
Randall Evans.
Tina Lawrence.
Serena Worthington.
Taylor Geyer.
Desiree Wilson.
Rachel Wiederspiel.
Thomas Sanders.
Shinizoa.
Michael Walker.
Chen Huang.
Nguyen Tran Phan.
Chotian Gu.
Epiphany Ngoi.
Shanmin Wang.
Lena Lay.
Mohammed Al-Sulaiti.
Political Science.
Britton Zurich.
Samuel Penix.
Marketing.
Joseph Kalmir.
Lauren Millie Golden.
Kelly Hess.
Alyssa Ray Castillo.
Jacob Vogley.
Cindy Reyes.
Waylon Munson.
Lindsay Ferreria.
Pamela Campos Palma.
Natalie Pardo.
Francis Hidalgo.
Ahmed Mukhtar.
Stephen Berry.
Nikki De Leon.
Jeffrey Langan.
Trevor Thorpe.
Benjamin Hedgepeth.
Shante Hillen.
Adam Winchie.
Kaivi Unmina.
Kristen Samuelson.
Keanu Corvo.
Paige Cameron.
James Titet.
Courtney Seipel.
Renee Zeo.
Shannon O'Loughlin Olson.
Emily Tate.
Linda Sarai Roman Marquez.
Joffrey Moreland.
Jillian Johnson.
Jessica LaChance.
Madeline Bishop.
Karen Schrock.
Emily Smith.
Spring Wedland.
Angela Maria Recon Orion.
Tara Howard Trump.
Megan Maurer.
Brooke Franklin.
Rodrigo Pedraza.
Molly Marie Hawken.
Cameron Dotson.
Tess Nelson.
Megan Stables.
Cheyenne Kane.
Ruslan Petrusha.
Murea King Klingler.
Nathan Sobach.
Boaz Stark.
Joseph Kenzierski.
Myra Camacho. Brandy Helzer.
You're in charge.
Jason Kim. Gladys Sotero. Monica Kaltur. Gina Hilbert. Taylor Custer. Cole Sturm. Anatoly Puga. Stephanie Puma Bong. Michael Cooper. Chris Farmer. Mark McHugh. Robert Kelshima. Cameron Rogers. Samuel Peters. Manuela Gutzman. Samantha Williams. Scott DeLuca. Michael Smira. Devin Elias. Jason Schanafelt. Madison Cox. Terrence James Sirocco. Andrew Goldstein. Jessica Gregg. Ashley Medellin. Rachel Curios. Lama Benjoma. Hashim Al-Mazrouk. Thomas Blakey. Darren Ogata. Alex Bezer.
Fahad Ullah.
Ayman Alkachi.
Kristen Louise Ray.
Susanna Lubeck. Matt Olila.
Richard Randall.
Josie Knight.
Yuri Townsend.
Brandon Denis.
Jeffrey Jaquez.
Victoria Vaz de Negri.
Trin Lei.
Baoshang Chang.
Fong Do.
Sarah Carpenter.
Gabrielle Lazu Camprath.
Tracy Miller.
Katie Seaton.
Paris Hughes.
Karen Ellis.
Megan Gallego.
Paul Garcia.
Ji Shao.
Supply and Logistics.
Philip Miller. Mark Wilkinson. John O'Mara.
Which way are we going? Supply?
Funtena Mavatun.
Kristen
Sudamalakar.
Howell.
Rebecca Hima. Haima.
Abdullah Aldari.
Eric Cook.
Ghassan Al-Makhtari.
Daniel Botsford.
Lauren Arlene Dees.
Ahmed Al-Fahad.
Orion Sprawls.
Derek Lambert.
Ha Pham.
Don Howard Kittrell Jr.
Olivia Tai.
Lisbeth Gonzalez Vilca.
Wen Ming Chen.
Chris Pire.
AC Wen.
Huang Li.
Abadorim Elogbi.
Shivashang Saranik.
Carlos McCall.
John Schmeideskamp.
Jesse James Hepner.
Wurabut Siwangsa.
Carla Suarez Soriana.
Casey Kazmaier.
Othman Afrey.
Hamila Radmat.
Abdul Aziz Azarani.
Emmanuel Fofi.
Mira Lopez.
Abdul Aziz Al Sahan.
Christopher Hedgecock.
Abraham Al Shakar.
Levi Smathers.
Edith Diaz.
Natalia Smiley.
Ricardo Mendoza Merecia.
Kevin Rash.
Chelsea Allen.
James Grice.
Hannah Pickett.
Angelina Wright.
Samuel J. Green.
Jennifer Ann Roberts.
Heidi Cole.
Wei Pham.
Christopher McDowell.
Frank Harrison.
Pavlo Duzzi.
Madeline Baumgartner.
Bryce Onstadt.
Andrea Heliski.
Anna Reed.
Lan Wynn.
Jenny Vickery.
Will the Master and Baccalaureate candidates please rise? At this time, you may change your tassel from the right to the left side. Congratulations to all of you. Now you may be seated. In keeping with the tradition of graduation ceremony, we will follow the order of dismissal with the platform party first, followed by faculty and the newly graduated students. Please remain seated until your row is dismissed. Family and friends, you may meet your graduates outside of the Moda Center on the promenade. Congratulations to all of you again. Go Vikes!
Find my way home. Silently, I'm seeking a kind of a way to get by on my own. Downtown Saturday, in a better way than I ever before. Don't need anyone standing in my sun. I don't need that anymore. And it's a long way, I know. And there's no my way, find my way, find my way home. I've got to find my way, find my way, find my way home. All those plans that I made for myself, I got nobody else to lean on. I've gone so far with my head in the clouds. Now it's time to come down and be your Downtown Saturday, in a better way than I ever was before. Don't need anyone standing in my sun. I don't need that anymore. And all the time in the world and everything I've heard, you know it's all in the word, destiny. Find my way home.
was falling apart, and all my days were spent by the telephone. It never rained, all I needed was a call. It never came to a corner of First, and I missed dime, lost and insecure. You found me lying on the floor, surrounded. Why'd you have to wait? Where were you? Just a little late. You found me. But in the end, well, everyone ends up alone, losing her, the only one who's ever known who I am, who I'm not, and who I wanna be. No way to know how long she will be next to me. Lost and insecure. You found me lying on the floor, surrounded. Why'd you have to wait? Where were you? Just a little late. You found me.